Absolute stud. We all know what this guy can do. You know, we're talking 1,400 yards or whatever it might be, double-digit touchdowns.
Violent, absolutely just destroyer of souls on the line of scrimmage against press coverage.
Look at the release.
There's your separation.
Great route.
Stutter and go. Gets by clean.
That is unbelievable.
Maybe the greatest catch I've ever seen.
The upside is limitless, man. Like, you know, 1,515 is I think in the realm of possibilities for DK Metcalf as he progresses into the prime of his career.
Shout out to Reception Perception for being correct on DK Metcalf after his rookie year. You know, people were still worried he couldn't run routes or, you know, couldn't be a full field receiver. And right. I mean, as a rookie, he was awesome in reception perception, 81st percentile against man, or excuse me, he was right up there against press coverage, right up there against man coverage, 85th percentile against man coverage as a rookie. Like, he can run routes, he can get open. It's actually funny, his route charts from 2019 and 2020, like his success rates, they look extremely similar. The scores, like in terms of red versus green, the scores are just a little higher coming into this year because he got better. The thing that's always been so appealing about DK Metcalf is, yeah, we know he can run a 9 route. You see it on his route success rate chart pulled up right here. Boom. Boom. Like, we know he can run that 9 route. 66.7% above the NFL average. Awesome on slants, awesome on digs. He can also run that curl route too when they ask him. The comeback, that's the thing that he really got better at this year, was snapping back to the quarterback, like being able to quickly turn back, like, and presenting more of a layup target. But the thing that has always been so awesome about DK Metcalf, and you could even see this watching him in college, and why I thought, like, okay, this guy's going to make it in the NFL. Like, I don't care about his 3-cone time. I don't care about the fact that he only lines up on one side of the field. 81% success rate versus press. That's a 94th percentile score. Unbelievably good. And, like, good luck. You're going to have him line up as the X receiver. You're going to try to get your hands on him. It's not going to work. So yeah, I love DK Metcalf, the player.
For me, this is a guy that is, again, going middle second round on Fantasy Football Calculator. He's got an ADP of 2.5, 18th overall. So right smack dab in the middle of round number 2. And I'll tell you this, you know, the wide receivers that are in front of him, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Nuke Hopkins. I honestly, and I'm not just saying this, but I honestly feel as if you took DK ahead of all of those guys, I honestly have no problems with that whatsoever. Fantasy football managers are notoriously slow on the uptake of certain players. And I feel like DK has fallen into that kind of into that trap a little bit. Again, people saw the 3-cone time. People said, okay, and early on in his career, you're right. The guy literally only lined up on the left side of the field and ran verticals. That's the only thing he did.
Slants and bursts, baby.
I think in like the first 12 games of the season, that's like of his career. Like, literally, he didn't even move to the right side of the field.
Like, from reception perception last year, and obviously this accounts for more than just those early games, over 50%, and this is, 2019, over 50% of his routes were either a slant or a 9, which is, it's absurd. It's like 53, 56%. That's absurd.
That's absurd. That's ridiculous. Right.
It really is. And he lined up on just the left wide receiver position on almost 65% of his routes. I mean, or almost 65% of his sampled snaps. That's just, I mean, that's, nobody stays on one side of the field that much. And if you're a Prime or a Sicko subscriber, you can see his archive profile from 2019 and then compare it to 2020. But he's gotten better each and every year, but he crushes it on the 9 route. He crushes it on the slant route. Why would you not want to use him to his strengths? And I love your point about, you know, people being slow to kind of project the next thing for a player. Man, there are still folks out there that be like, oh, DK can't run routes. It's like those people should be blasted into the sun for one. Last year, I thought when, like, they were just so focused on vertical shots, you know, they were so focused on hitting the big play, you know, and DK Metcalf himself has even talked about this, that teams were, you know, they were onto them. They kind of knew what was coming. I want them to be a more efficient passing team. And in my mind, I think the best way to do that is to run a Rams style passing offense that's based off play action. You know, some of those layup patterns that damn Jared Goff has just got to enjoy his entire career that Russ really hasn't. Enter Shane Waldron, their hire as offensive coordinator. I actually think this is, if there's an offense that can kind of be the best of both worlds, like let Pete Carroll have that ground and pound philosophy, you know, set it up with the run, all that, and then bring a more modern, progressive play action, layup based offense, passing game. I think this is kind of the perfect marriage of that.
I will gladly overpay for DK. I'm so high on DK this year that I really feel like he could legitimately be the best wide receiver in fantasy football this year. And I tell you what, if it happens, Matt, no one's going to be surprised. That's what's crazy to me is that, like, if it happens, no one's going to be surprised. And yet it's still not being baked into his prices, which kind of sort of surprises me a little bit. You know what I mean? So he's such a beast. He's such an animal. And man, like, he's got it all, and he's developing as a player too. You talk about the routes, you know, I mean, like, he's added the crossing patterns to his arsenal quite a bit. And that makes a whole hell of a lot of sense too, right? Like, come on, dude, like line this guy up out wide and just have him run across the field. It's all good. You know, like, wreak havoc.
Yeah.
If you want to run zone, okay, that's fine. Like, Russell just pick you apart. It's all good. You know, if you want to run man, great. Let's do that too. You know, like, who's going to keep up with this guy who's, you know, 230 pounds and running a 4.35 40? Like, who's going to do that? Obviously, DK has put a lot of work in himself in terms of being a better route runner and a better overall wide receiver. He took those criticisms that people had during the pre-draft process. I think he internalized them, and he has worked his ass off. And you can tell.
100%.
You can absolutely tell, which is great to see.